act in the ways that have happened over the last number of years, we have to start to question ourselves. And I think that's what's happened. Over the weekend, a number of people started writing me messages on our Facebook page. We started having responses, and people started to say to us, "Hey, what's going on?" What is your name, by the way? Yours?
Mine, Laura Murray.
Was that you? Did you write me a note?
I did not.
Okay, someone wrote me a note. Your face is very similar.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, and thank you for being here, by the way. So we're going to come together tonight, and we're going to have just what it says on the front of the handout of the program. It says, if you see in the small letters, service.community.healing. That's what we're looking for. 3 things. That people wanted to come together to find something that's meaningful. People wanted to be able to be here as a community, and I know people wanted to try to find a way to heal. And that's what we're going to attempt to do tonight. And on so many levels, maybe it won't be everything that we need, but God willing, it's going to be something that we can do together. And so just a couple of thank yous. I just want to say thank you to Pastor Paul Meeker from Our Savior's Lutheran, and also Pastor Grant Christensen from Grace Covenant, because they allowed for us to be able to have parking here close by. As you know, we have a metropolis outside that we're able to park in. So because of that, we really want to thank those 2 communities and those 2 spiritual leaders as well. So if you'll open up your program, if you're sharing, that's okay too. If you're in the back, that's fine too. We expect to have voices from everyone here tonight. So in general, where you see the italics, I'm going to ask that's the part that the community is going to read, and then I'll lead the pieces that are in the darkened words. So we read responsively. When evil darkens our world,
let us be bearers of light.
When fists are clenched in self-righteous rage,
let our hands be open for the sake of peace.
And when injustice slams doors on the ill, the poor, the old, and the stranger,
let us pry the doors open.
Because where shelter is lacking,
let us be builders.
Where food and clothing are needed,
let us be providers.
And where knowledge is denied,
let us be champions of learning.
When dissent is stifled,
let our voices speak truth to power.
And when the earth and its creatures are threatened,
let us be their guardians.
And when bias, greed, and bigotry erode our country's values,
let us proclaim liberty throughout the land.
And in places where no one acts like a human being,
let us bring courage, let us bring compassion, let us bring humanity.
In the top right, we stand as one on this night of remembrance of these people, united in grief, united in loss, united in the power of a promise.
God has made us.
And so I look to the Psalms, hear my cry, O God, heed my prayer. From the end of the earth I call you, God.
When my heart is faint, you lead me to a rock that is high above me. For you have been my refuge, a tower of strength against the enemy. Oh, that I might dwell in your tent forever, taking refuge under your protecting wings. Selah.
There are times when each of us feels lost or alone, adrift and forsaken, unable to reach those next to us or be reached by them.
And there are days and nights when existence seems to lack all purpose, and our lives seem brief sparks in a different cosmos.
Fear and loneliness enter into the soul.
None of us is immune from doubt and fear. None escapes times when all seems dark and senseless.
Then at the ebb tide of the Spirit, the soul cries out and reaches for companionship. So my friends, I think one of the greatest things that we can do is come together in song. We'll do a few of them tonight. And we'll definitely do some English. We're going to do a little Hebrew too tonight, by the way. Just so that we can give everyone a taste of our community and what it means to be part of a different faith community if you're not Jewish. But in specific, Jewish guy came up with this song a few years ago, and it really speaks to these kind of times. And so I only have to teach you a couple words, and you already know them in the English. It's one day. And I'm sure some of you have heard it on the radio, and you didn't even realize it's a Jewish guy that actually developed that song, who's thinking about what it's going to mean to make the world a better place. So this is what this guy Matisyahu said. Sometimes I lay under the moon, I thank God I'm breathing, and I pray don't take me soon. You know I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. Oh, try that. One day, one day, one day. Oh, it's not about win or lose. We all lose when they feed on the souls of the innocent, blood-drenched pavement. Keep on moving though the water's still raging. In this maze you can lose your way. No way, well it might drive you crazy. Don't let it fade you, no way, no way. I said sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down, because the negativity surrounds. I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that there won't be no more wars, and no more wars, and then our children will play. One day, I said one day, no, one day, oh, one day, one day. Change. We'll treat people the same. Listen up there in Pittsburgh. Stop with the violence, down with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun, singing songs of freedom. Like, here we go. One day, right? One day, one day, oh, one day, one day, one day. So friends, when we come together in such a way, it's always important that we allow for those who are in our community who really believe that a community is something that we can be proud of, something that we not only should be proud of, but as a matter of fact should continue to build in certain ways. And that's why I've asked our mayors to be here, our adjoining mayors, that really can be proud of who and what we are as a community, and they wanted to be able to share some thoughts today. And we'll have a couple of others that are going to share thoughts as well, but in particular, that's why they are here with me on the Bema tonight. These are the people that you see walking in your community each and every day, at least I hope they are. And as they walk in your community, they want to be proud of who and what we have become and what we will become. And so it's for that reason that I've asked them to come. So I'm going to ask Mayor Erickson, please, if you would mind speaking first.
Thank you. My name is Becky Erickson, and I am the mayor of Paulsburg. And first of all, I want to say thank you to Mayor Mitch. Excuse me. We used to have a Mayor Mitch. Rabbi Mitch, for inviting me to speak tonight. The first thing I'd like you to do is look around and find someone you don't know and smile at them. Right now. Everybody.
Like I know you are.
We are a community. And I'm not Jewish. I was raised an Episcopalian. My dad actually was ordained. But I was always taught we all need to love one another. Love one another. These are all your neighbors. And when you drive home tonight and you look at the cars around you and you look at the houses as you go by, when you go up the freeway and you look at the cars whizzing by, those are your neighbors. And you always need to love and to forgive. Now, what happened in Pittsburgh made me weep inside because we've had too much violence, especially too much violence cemented in anti-Semitism. And the only way I know how to deal with hate and violence is to love bigger and better, to love more, to reach out more often, to say hi to people I don't know, to always strive for the good in all of our communities, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, black, white. I don't care what ethnic it is. Love one another. Care about one another. Now, this isn't exactly a political speech I'm giving, but I don't think this is a time for politics. This is a time for community and love and forgiveness. And especially, it's a time to celebrate the lives that have been lost in Pittsburgh. Each one of them had family and people that loved them. And we need to remember them with sadness, but we also need to celebrate their lives. So don't forget that piece, because every life is sacred. So I'm not going to go on a long time tonight, because I think I've said the things that I believe the most. And I have no script here, I always speak from my heart. When you live, you love. And you love to live. Reach out to your neighbor. Forgive. Every neighbor. Not just the ones that agree with you or like you. Every neighbor. That's what I think God calls us to do. So thank you. And please remember what I said. Right? So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Loving the neighbor. I like that. So, Greg,
Yes.
Mayor Wheeler, right here in Bremerton, I'm proud that you're here tonight, and I'm even more proud that when I sent you an email, that you answered. Actually, both of you, because there are times when we write our public officials when it takes a few days for that to happen, and sometimes a few weeks. So I think I can speak for the community when I say it's good that we can hear from you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Appreciate that. So it's an honor to be here tonight. It was an honor to get that message from you, Rabbi. And about walking, if folks in here in this room know me, I'm known as the walking mayor. I spend a lot of time on my feet in this community. I was 1,150-mile campaign on my 2 feet. So I spend a lot of time. It made me chuckle a little bit. I do need to come down and visit more, I think.
There we go.
So how many people in here feel better than when they first came in? How many people feel better now? You know, so do I. It's, the world, when tragedy happens, it gets it gets lonely. And a lot of times people will internalize because they don't have a group around them, and they just see the news, they go into shock, and then something dies, a little bit dies. And I appreciate the wisdom of the folks who encouraged the rabbi, and I appreciate his leadership for pulling, just saying, let's do this, and bringing us together, because I'm healing. And I think if I'm feeling it, I'm sure that everybody else in here is healing also. It's a pleasure to be here as the mayor of the city of Bremerton. One of the honors I have is to take a collective voice of 41,500 people and channel it into my voice to you. And I do stand here with my Jewish friends and neighbors here in solidarity, in support of our Jewish friends across this county, state, and country, together in support of our Jewish friends in Pittsburgh. And also, I stand in solidarity with you, denouncing hate, denouncing all forms of hate and intolerance that it will tear and is tearing our country apart. And so, but the only way we lose is if we quit or give up. And love, as the mayor said, Mayor Erickson, love conquers hate. It is the light that'll remove the darkness. And so as we go forward, we increase our love. We increase our tolerance and patience, and we embrace cultural differences. We go to each other's churches. We go into areas that we don't traditionally go into. We make that effort to reach out to one another. That's how we win. We educate, we remove ignorance. We do it one step at a time, and we also at the same time show zero tolerance for bigotry and hate and those things that would destroy the moral fabric of our country. So it's an honor again to be here in front of you. I look forward to coming down and visiting again, and I am going to do it under good times. But it's wonderful to be here tonight, healing with you, and please just have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
So I know that we have a couple of other representatives that are here, and so I know that Representative Appleton is here. She's also a member of the tribe. Now, whenever you hear people talk about the tribe, this is how I teach people in the community, the non-Jews. I mean, it's really important that you understand that. You'll often hear people say, "Are you a member of the tribe?" That's code word for "Are you Jewish?" Not "Are you a member of one of the Native American tribes?" Now here, I want to be honest. Here, I have actually had to be a little more careful about that because we have so many Native Americans that are here, and so I try to be respectful of that. But with you, I can say it's good to have another tribe member here, and we invite you to the beam of that to share a few words.
Thank you. Can anybody see me? If you can't, I'm the head that's certainly right. No, I was very pleased to come tonight. I will tell you that I'm going to leave after I talk because I got a concussion on Monday, and so I can't stay. But I didn't want to not come, so I'm here. You know, the one thing I absolutely adore is when I go to temple, whether it be B'nai Torah in Bellevue or Kol Shalom on Bainbridge Island, I get such a feeling of partnership with the world. I have always believed in Tikkun Olam, repair of the world, and I feel like that's my job down at the legislature. To try to make people's lives better. It doesn't always work, but we try. And today, or yesterday, God, time flies, it was really sad because these people who passed We're all fathers, mothers, brothers, uncles, grandparents, and all of them wanted what all of us want. They wanted to live. They wanted to see their children grow. They wanted to see a world of peace. And I'm not sure in my lifetime we'll ever see peace, but I hope so, because we're all human beings, and under the skin we all bleed the same way. And I know I always feel so good when I come into a temple, because I know that we don't turn anybody away, that we are the most tolerant of religions. Of course, you might disagree, but we are the most tolerant of religions. When I was growing up, I lived with my grandparents, and my grandfather was very, very strong about, you see somebody who doesn't have a home, you bring him into your home. And my grandmother, I was raised in a Yiddish household. Now, if you think I can speak Yiddish, forget it. I can't. But when I was a kid, I understood it. Because you know how parents and grandparents go over the corner and they start, and you sort of get the idea. But I know if my grandparents were alive today, they would be crushed. They would be crushed that this could fall to our generation. There's something wrong when we allow this, and we do in a way, we allow this to happen because we don't have the strength or character to say no guns. They did that in Australia. They did that in Australia in 1999 when there was a mass killing down there. And they had the courage to say, no more guns. And there hasn't been a mass killing down there since 1999. Someday we're going to have that courage to do the same thing. But I don't think right now is the time to pursue it. I do feel very strongly about it. And since this is not a political night, I will tell you that it has been a pleasure. It's been a long time since I've been here. And I'd like to come back again. And thank you for coming. It really means a lot, not just to me, but to these 11 people who have passed this earth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, well, maybe you sit down then.
So I know that we have a couple of other representatives from that are here. I know that is the state senator, is Christine Arofis here? Is she here?
I don't see her.
She's not here? Okay, all right.
I think we have ferry issues because they weren't.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. So, having said that, I want to share a few words here with the community. Now, this Southern Alaskan accent that you hear really comes from Tennessee. So I'm a native New Yorker who grew up in Tennessee. So a little bit of twang, you'll have to deal with that. Now, I received something on Facebook from a congregant from years ago, actually, and her name is Brett Stern, and this is what she wrote. My 15-year-old spent the day on Saturday trying to track her camp and youth group friends down to make sure they weren't dead. Think about that for a second. See, last night in her anger and pain, she wrote this speech that she hoped to find the opportunity to deliver. Shoshi. Haven't seen her in a decade, but I'm going to deliver it for her. 10 a.m. on October 27th in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Tree of Life Synagogue lost 11 of their beloved congregants in an act of anti-Semitism and hate. Let us have a moment of silence for these victims. Hello, she said. My name is Shoshana Stern. I am a 15-year-old gay, Jewish high school student. I am judged, I am discriminated against, and endangered throughout my country. Schools, LGBTQ plus safe spaces, and now this, my last safe space, the synagogue, has been tainted. Where am I supposed to go to feel safe? Mary Lambert, a singer-songwriter, wrote in one of her songs, I cry because my only power feels like tweeting a hashtag that is so vapid and useless, or I cry because I'm human and I'm connected and there is immense sadness in the world. I cry because humanity is frightening, because one person consumed with self-hatred and armed with one gun can kill an entire room of people. What can we do to stop this hate? The truth is, she said, I don't know. I don't know what propels these people to commit such horrible acts. I don't know who lives and who dies. I'm 15 with the weight of the world on my shoulders. But I don't have to bear this alone because I do know one thing. Love is stronger than hate. Together, we build a community, a family. We are fighters. And you won't believe this, Mayor. Look to your left. Look to your right. Love is everywhere. I didn't write this, she wrote it. Love will outlive hate. I hope and pray that this recent shooting is our last, that no more innocent lives will be lost to irrational acts of anger and violence. Change will come. It's up to you and me, us as a community, to bring about this change. For love is stronger than hate. Friends, we should not be here tonight. We should be home with our families eating dinner. We should be readying ourselves to tuck our children into bed, or we should be sharing a conversation with our partners, asking about each other's workday. We should not be here shaken to the core of our souls because a person so enveloped in hate could find no other response to the world than to enter a place of worship on Shabbat morning and murder 11 innocent people. But we are here. We're here because of our young people like Shoshana Stern, who feels her only shield of safety is to pour her thoughts into the social media world. The same world the gunman Robert Bowers used to frequently post anti-Semitic rhetoric. And we are here to let our community and the world know that we cannot and we will not stand for these types of heinous crimes. Now, in the Jewish community, we've lived the crimes of death on the Rhine River, in France and in Germany. We've endured the pogroms of Eastern Europe, and we've survived one of the greatest atrocities known to the human race, that of Nazi Germany. We are no strangers to being scapegoats, I can tell you that. But we are here right now. We are in 21st century America. This is supposed to be the land of the free, the home of the brave. How brave must we Jews be to now enter our own places of worship? Now, according to the media, Robert Bowers' social media posts railed against the Jewish organization HIAS, H-I-A-S. You've probably seen that, but this is what it means, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society. He presented the notion that this organization is bringing invaders into the U.S. that are killing his people. Yet, as I checked HIAS' website, for 137 years, HIAS has welcomed the stranger and protected the refugee. In the face of a worldwide global refugee crisis of unprecedented scale, I mind you, and HIAS has recently celebrated years of helping refugees escape persecution and resettle in safety. reuniting families who have been separated, and helping them build new lives in safety and in freedom. HIAS continues to resettle the most vulnerable refugees of all faiths and all ethnicities from all over the world. So I'm just a little confused. Except for the Native Americans who inhabited these lands much before his people arrived, are we not all products of immigration into this country? Were not our ancestors part of those who either disembarked from a boat or existed on an airplane on the shores of American soil? And our scriptures teach not about hating the widow, the orphan, the stranger, or the poor. Rather, the prophet Zechariah teaches, do not oppress the widow, the orphan, the stranger, nor the poor. You see, friends, this statement and many others like it in our scriptures call for our community to look after those who are in need. You heard that. We Jews have dedicated our lives to helping others. In fact, the goal of Judaism, if you learn nothing else tonight, I cannot say, by the way, that it is a better religion or that we do more than others. What I can say, though, I can say this, that the goal of Judaism is making the world a better place. And if you learn nothing else tonight from me, you learn that our goal is to make the world a better place. This is what, as rabbis, we teach in our places of worship. We ask, no, we demand of our people that we do not wait for those who need help in this world to come to us. Rather, we look to find them. Yet, as a community, when we attempt to do so, a man armed with an AR-15 enters a place of worship. And according to the sporting goods online discounter cheaperthandirt.com, you see the AR-15 is America's most popular rifle for a good reason. The modular platform makes it easy to configure your gun in any way you'd like. You see, the AR-15 has proven itself reliable, rugged, and accurate, making it a go-to choice for home defense, for competitive shooting, and more. Now, with no disrespect to our armed forces, I believe we now know what the more can mean. Now, friends, I cannot stand here this evening and say that the Jewish community is the only victim of this type of crime. I can't say it. After all, in recent years, our country lost 9 people studying Bible at the Emmanuel Church in Charleston, and 26 victims lost their lives at a small church in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Not to mention the numerous calculated shootings which occurred in public spaces such as our schools and other venues. We are a community, and we are Americans. We are Washingtonians together. We cannot stand for these types of incidences in our spaces of this world, and we certainly cannot stand for this type of behavior in our places of worship. So we cannot ask a city like Pittsburgh to accept this kind of action in their places. In our tradition, one of the rabbis in the rabbinic literature of the Mishnah, Rabbi Tarfon, he taught this: Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, velo ata ben chorin lehibatel mimena. You are not required to complete the task, yet you are not free to withdraw from it. And to this statement, subsequent commentators teach, God does not engage a person in God's service with the expectation that this person can singularly complete the task. You hear me? And God does not penalize this person for being unable to finish either. Yet each person is obligated to commit his or her best efforts to the service of the Creator. The work is not optional, friends. It is a burden that must be accepted. And here we learn from our sages that we are in partnership with God. When we are blessed to have life on this earth, we must be able to share in God's creations. And this not only applies to the natural resources and animals of this world, it particularly applies to other humans. See, the rabbis teach us that we are obligated to watch over all entities in this world. It is a partnership, and therefore when we see others in this world that are wrongly blamed for any action, we must do our best to ensure safety, the well-being, and security for them all. And accordingly, this is not a request. Oh no. It is not an option. No, no. It is a load that we all must carry. And I would extend this teaching to each and every people, no matter race, creed, color, or religion. And so, my friends, how will we carry the load? I know that is the question you're asking inside your souls tonight. I'm asking that same question too. We are here tonight to show the Jews of Pittsburgh and any other faith institution in our country that we Washingtonians will stand with you. We will speak out about crimes against humanity. We will let our public leaders know that in our communities we will not accept hate. We won't accept it. We will not and cannot accept bigotry either. And we intend to push back. Yes, it is each and every citizen's right in this country to bear arms. It states as much in our Constitution, no doubt about that. But this legislation was developed in terms of the security of our country and the freedoms each person is afforded from it. It was not developed so that Robert Bowers or any other should be allowed to carry an assault rifle into a place of worship and take the lives our Creator has bestowed upon this world. You can be sure of that. And as I continue to do my work as a servant of God, it is painful for me to have to read the sorrowful words of a 15-year-old young woman who I last saw when she was 5. As an adult, I can remember the narratives my grandparents and parents shared with me about the cruelty and persecution our people have endured. And as a child, I could not truly understand why another person would hate me just because I was born a Jew. In fact, I could not understand why any person could hate another simply because of their race, creed, or religion. But at the precipice of my learning in rabbinical seminary, I can remember gazing at the inscription written on the ark doors. This is an ark, and inside it holds the Torah. And on that ark, the holy ark that housed the teachings of our people in that synagogue, the same congregation where I first met Brett Stern and her daughter Shoshana, the inscription read the following on the doors: V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Maybe you've heard that scripture before. I promise you, most of us in this room know that Hebrew without even knowing it. Leviticus 19:18. Say it with me. Love your neighbor as yourself. No matter how you believe in God, no matter how you believe in a higher metaphysical presence, he, she, it, we, they, let these words guide you on your journey from these walls tonight. Let these words be a beacon for all to see in our community, in our country, and in our world. Keni hi ratzon. May this be God's will.
Amen.
Now you can leave. So we turn now back to our program. Right below where it said words of comfort, and we read responsively. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Together,
Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support and bestows the life, is also our hope in death.
we have set God before us and shall not despair in God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh.
Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love we are comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, shine your light into our hearts, and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you.
So friends, just a little bit more music, a little more song here, and don't worry, I have a couple more that I think are going to engage us and have us feeling just a little bit better, Mayor, I hope. This is actually our prayer for healing. It's called Mishaberach Lecholim. a prayer for all those who are ill, all those who are hurting. It could be spiritually. It could be physically. And so we're going to ask this bracha, this blessing together. And the words, just look at your words. If you don't know Hebrew, don't worry. I didn't write it in Hebrew there for you. I gave it to you in what we call transliteration, in English characters. So here we go together. Read with me at the top. There's a phrase there. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor haberacha leimotenu. There you go. And the second one will be similar. So this is how it goes. There are a few congregants here and others in the community that know it. It goes like this. Mi sheberach avotenu mekor haberacha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Top. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Look at the bottom. Let us treasure these times we have and resolve to use it well, counting each moment a chance to apprehend some truth, to experience some beauty, to conquer some evil here tonight, to relieve some suffering, to love and to be loved, to achieve something of lasting worth. Together,
Help us, God, to fulfill the promise that is each of us, and so to conduct ourselves that generations hence, it will be true to say of us, the world is better, because for a brief space they lived in it.
so friends, if you turn over to the next page, you're going to see that Alden Solovey, in the day after this heinous situation, this heinous crime, he wrote an acrostic. And I've asked a couple of our congregants to come and to share with you this acrostic. And so if you look, you see it says Tree of Life. I bolded the letters for you. Pittsburgh, Tree of Life. And as they share this with you, as they alternate using their voices, I'm going to ask each of you to go inside your soul and feel these words. Feel something come to you in your soul, in your consciousness, because we too can't possibly understand what each and every person in that congregation is going through this week, because it is not our loved ones that have been taken in that way, but we can empathize, and that's what I ask for now.
Tree of Life,
Revive our souls,
enrich our days,
entreating your blessings.
O God of peace,
Fill our hearts with comfort
letting your Torah shine.
in the fullness of our love,
Faith in you, our God,
eternal source of blessings.
praying for healing,
In the depths of despair,
thanking God for the survivors,
thanking God for the first responders,
sorrow crushing our hearts,
bereaved beyond belief,
united in our love,
returning to you in faith,
God of Israel,
healer of generations,
Tree of Life,
Redeemer of Israel,
enliven this moment with healing.
enliven this moment with hope.
O Rock of Israel,
Forget not the Jews of Pittsburgh
let your love flow
in the days ahead,
for justice and peace.
everlasting.
And together we say,
Amen.
now friends, before we wind down and we have our ending piece here and our ending songs, I just want to let you know that I was in contact with our congressman, and I did ask him to be here tonight, and I think he had at least 4 other engagements he had to be at. So did I say demand? No, I didn't say that. He wrote a piece for us, and so at this time I want to ask our president, as we begin to wind down, to share words from our congressman.
Hi, I'm Barry Dell. Thank you all for being here. So the statement is on behalf of Representative Derek Kilmer. I'm sorry that I couldn't be with you tonight. I had a pre-scheduled commitment that I couldn't break. In her book, Daniel's Story, the author Carol Mattis writes, "What are our choices? We can despair and curse and change nothing. We can choose evil like our enemies have done and create a world based on hate, or we can try to make things better. Tonight, I send a message of thanks to each of you. Thank you for trying to make things better. I believe that all of us here in our community and around the country need to speak with clear voices and say that anti-Semitism is wrong, bigotry is wrong, hate is wrong. Each of us needs to stand up against anti-Semitism and hate, whether it be coded language by politicians or overt hate speech. Congress recently took a stand by passing a bill I wrote after the Mercer Island Jewish Community Center was targeted with bomb threats. It said making threats of violence against religiously affiliated community centers are hate crimes. It just got signed into law, and yet we find ourselves at this moment mourning people who were murdered as they gathered to practice their religion, a right so fundamentally important that it comes first in our Bill of Rights. There is so much more work to do. What we saw over the weekend is not normal. It is not right. We must never accept these acts of evil, whether they be in Pittsburgh or Charlottesville or Mercer Island. There is too much hate, too much division. So tonight, you are sending a message to the people of Pittsburgh and around the world that we are committed to making things better. That while it can feel overwhelming to see the evil that one person can do, we are eager to make others overwhelmed by the good a person can do, because we are capable of such good. Tonight and every day after, let's send a message that we have far more in common than the few things that make us different. Let's commit, each of us, to being better, more civil, more loving, more welcoming to strangers. Because we know things don't get better on their own. We must make them better. And we know that what Dr. King told us is true. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Your presence here tonight shows that you embrace that ethic. Thank you. And I thank you.
Friends, I'm going to ask everyone to stand now. And if standing is a problem for you, it's okay. We're going to stand for a couple minutes, and if you need to sit, you can sit. Don't worry, it's not there's no demand on that. I'm just asking that everybody stands. In our tradition, we call the names at a time like this so that each and every person has their rightful time for mourning in our community. And so I'm going to read the list. Joyce Feinberg, Richard Godfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecil Rosenthal, David Rosenthal, Bernice Simon, Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax. And so it is time for us as a community to remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down,
We remember them.
in the blowing of the wind and in the chill of the winter,
We remember them.
and in the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring,
We remember them.
and in the blueness of the sky and the warmth of summer,
We remember them.
in the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn,
We remember them.
in the beginning of the year and when it ends,
We remember them.
when we are weary and in need of strength,
We remember them.
when we are lost and sick at heart,
We remember them.
when we have joys we yearn to share.
We remember them.
So together, as long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. I'm going to ask you just to turn on the very back page. We're going to do a little singing to close out here. Where I grew up in Tennessee, a little guitar and a little song to close out was always something that we liked to have and share together, and that was way before you saw them in synagogues and churches and anywhere else. This first part, it's a very big piece. It's called Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. So everybody repeat after me. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. All right, so what it means, we should bring more peace upon us. So some people know this little tune, and we'll get it together. Let's try it. Let's see what we can do. It goes like this. O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo, I said, we should bring more peace upon us. We should bring more peace upon us. We should bring more peace upon us. And on everyone. Now I'm going to ask you to reach over and put your arm around the person next to you. On the shoulder, hold the hand, whatever you need the marriage to be. We should bring more peace upon us. We should bring more peace upon us. We should bring more peace upon us. And on everyone. The bottom goes like this. Salam. Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, O Javo Shalom Aleinu, we should bring more peace upon us. We should bring more peace upon us. We should bring more peace upon us. And on everyone. Now I know everybody knows this next one. If you don't, we gotta take you to school the old Southern way. It goes like this. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now look at the words. Now I changed them. It's a county. We're gonna let it shine. I said we're in Pittsburgh County. We're gonna let it shine. Together. We're in Pittsburgh County. We're gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh yeah. Mine. thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for each and every one of you taking time out of your schedules to think about people in another city and people from another religion, from another race, in some cases from you. And I want to say exactly again what the mayor said. Please, Leviticus 19:18. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. Good evening, and we say in Hebrew, Erev Tov.